You're breathtaking. Hey, bro, watch your jet. Watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet.
Hi, hello. Welcome, boys and girls, everything in between and beyond, to the second ever episode of the G Spot podcast, where the G does not stand for, fuck, I forgot his name again, Greffenberg, but rather it stands for the strongest argument in favor of capital punishment, gamers. So, I actually did some work, wouldn't you know it, and I opened Microsoft Word and I typed a couple of things that I want to talk about, talking points. And apparently, the first thing that I have here is Intel adding something. Sipping on some coffee. Let's get into it. So, Intel actually, they're gonna launch their new CPUs, and they're gonna have features. Hear this? They're gonna have features uh, in the processors themselves, in the CPUs themselves. However, you cannot use these features unless you pay a monthly subscription. This really grinds my gears. This really wets my sleeves. This really wets my socks. I hate these subscription type things. It's First of all, every company is doing this, and we even though a lot of people are outraged about this subscription thing, we seem to not have as strong of an effect in changing these companies' minds. Because if you remember, BMW had like seat heaters, right? They would warm your seats, and you can use these warming devices in the seats when you pay a subscription, a monthly subscription. I don't remember how much it was, but it doesn't fucking matter, because if I'm paying money that should cover the hardware in the product that I've bought, say in this case, it's a car, it's a BMW car. Like, you've already put the thing there, and I've already paid the money that would cover the hardware that you've put there. Why do I need to pay you more if I'm using it? Like, let's say like there's a car without a radio, and then there's a car with a radio. So depending on your budget, let's say like a radio is like a crucial thing and it's an expensive thing. So depending on your budget, you might buy a car with a radio if you have the extra, let's say $10,000 to spend. And then if you don't, then you're gonna not spend the 10,000, and you're gonna get the model that's worth 50,000 instead of 60,000. However, if you buy the 60,000 one, that means you've paid for that extra thing, which is the radio in the car. You don't have to pay a subscription after that, because you've already paid for the goddamn thing. And this is what they're doing. BMW did it. A couple more companies. I can't remember. Like, I can't recall examples in the spot right now. I should have done more research about this before I've started recording. But anyways, Intel is also doing this. You've already paid for the full CPU, and then they're gonna force you to pay extra monthly subscription every month to cover up the features that they've already put in there, that you've already paid for. This is ridiculous. And so this is gonna be a bad move, because also, like, by the way, these CPUs are like server CPUs, and AMD, fuck, I forgot the model, but they have like their new model where you can like stack chips together. It's already proving to be amazing for servers, and so, and they, as far as we know, they don't have this monthly subscription thing. So not only is Intel's gonna lose like on the performance side, they also have this fucking feature that's just outrageous. And I hope they get their shit kicked in. I hope they get their teeth kicked in because of this, and I hope they get like a big big hit to their stocks and to their margins because of this fucking shit, because this is ridiculous. And like, this is uh the scammiest. I hate subscription models in general, I don't like them. Uh, it's amazing how we've traded sort of ownership for uh, convenience that is not set with like an actual substance to it, like a time. It's like a timer that we don't know if it's gonna stop or gonna continue. We just trust that it's gonna continue, because if you think about it, when we have all these subscriptions, we're talking about gaming, so gaming, music, whatever, we pay a monthly subscription, and like all the music that you have, all the games that you have, if you have like a origin pass or whatever, the music that you have, the shows that you have, the movies that you have, the games that you have, all of these you pay a monthly subscription for. You don't own any of them. And if one of these companies decided to stop, you know, working, they can just do that. And everything that you own within that, there's the subscription belonging to that company is now gone, and you have no legal. They would have no legal ramifications from you, their investors and stuff like that. But you, as the customer, like you've already agreed in the terms of and services that this is sort of like an indefinite contract, that we store the stuff for you here, and you can come get them when you want. But should we go bankrupt or stop stop working, you're fucked. Like all of the things that you have that w- all the things that you have, we actually have. You don't own anything. We're just allowing you to come here and use what you use. And should we decide to go, doesn't matter if you paid for your subscription for like 3 years, 10 years, whatever. They can just go. So we've traded basically ownership. We traded for convenience, just that the convenience of like paying 6.99, 9.99, whatever a month, instead of like paying however much. And companies love this shit because the subscription model has been proven to make a fuck ton of money, way more for the companies than the one time purchase thing. So that's why every company now is trying to do a subscription model, even the ones that sell you like tangible hardware. It's not even like a digital thing, like the goddamn seat heaters. It's there. I paid for it. Why should I pay a monthly subscription for this? So I hope, like I said, I hope Intel gets a big swing of a bat to the head for this. And yeah, I want to move on. I actually want to talk about next is China. China actually, they if you haven't heard, China actually solved the gaming addiction problem, and they did this by a few months back or a few years back, whatever. They have this limit of it is prohibited to play a video game for more than 3 hours a week. Excuse me. So this has been going on for a while, and they finally released sort of the conclusion and the results of their amazing um, endeavors in stopping gaming addiction. And they said that actually 75%, wouldn't you know it, 75% of the people have now surpassed their gaming addiction, and they don't play more than 3 hours a week. And this is coming from China. So a grain of salt is necessary, but not a grain of salt, but probably like like 3 4 bags of salt are necessary in taking this information. But also, not only is it coming from China, it's coming from like the supposed people who were asked are people who were oppressed, who were afraid for whatever from legal ramifications if they played for more than 3 hours. So of course they would lie and say that, yeah, I haven't played for more, damn it, I'm using words, for more than 3 hours this week. Yep, I got it. Yeah, English speaking friend here. But yeah, so how can you take this study seriously when the people in the study are afraid for themselves if they say they've played more than 3 hours, and then you have China and its reputation of always riding the highest of horses. They can't just come out here and say, "Yep, our little fucking experiment didn't work. We'll try another one. Peace out. See ya." They can't do that because it's China and they have Xi Jinping over there. It's weird for me that China is focusing on gaming amidst everything going on there. You know, like, don't you have like bigger fish to fry? Fucking Evergreen, Tencent, Alibaba, and like all of them goofy companies you got over there doing whatever. Like, your economy is about to collapse. You have fucking like a housing crisis. The housing market is going to shit, and it's related heavily to every other market because Evergreen and the other companies, like, they own everything there. Oh my god, that's a whole nother thing. But what I'm saying is China has much bigger fish to fry than to worry about fucking video games, especially now that they had like this fight with Blizzard. Blizzard is putting their games out of China because Christ on the cross. Blizzard does not like the fact that China is like taking the players' data. Uh, the people who play the Blizzard games, who also are Chinese or playing from China, China is like requesting and taking more data about these people than other governments or whatever. Like, some governments don't even care or like request gaming companies to give out their the players' data, but China does. And not only does it like just like, hey, how many hours are people playing, but like actual like data, like chats and stuff like that, because it's China and they have to keep an eye on everyone. Xi Jinping, the Winnie the Pooh, all of that. So Blizzard were like, yeah, uh, we're pretty fucked up in the head, but like not this fucked up. I mean, when you lose the moral ground to Blizzard, Christ, I mean, you must be very, very fucked in the head. And China is. So, China solved the addiction problem. Good on them. Uh, oh. The new, but I'm looking at what I've wrote as a keynote. Battlefield new update. Who gives a shit about this? I don't, but I'm gonna talk about it because I've tried to give Battlefield like 3 chances, you know, which is three too many for Battlefield. And let me be honest, it is relatively fixed than it was at launch. That's a low bar to hit, but it is now functional. You can play a full game with potentially with no, bugs, crashing. You don't get stuck at the door. If you die, you can actually get revived, believe it or not. However, the problem is it is just boring to play right now. There are not that many players. Battlefield 1 actually has more players uh, uh, as far as I'm recording in the time of recording. Also, like, it's just not fun anymore. It's like we were excited about it the first time, me and my friend, and like you play it at launch and there's a lot of problems, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna give it a month and jump back in after they fix some stuff. After a month, I jump back in. uh the excitement kind of wore off. There's few players, no new content, no new modes. I was really hoping that the mode, fucking the one they called the love letter for the game, for the fan base, portal, yeah. I was very excited about that. Like, people can make everyone every crazy bastard on the internet can like get a server and like build random fucking gameplay stuff, and they can like put tanks against fucking whatever. And there are all these things we can like create mods. It would be like the battlefield modding community would be in Portal. That didn't get a lot of support, and it died down quickly. So it just became this boring ass shell of a game. And every time I tried to jump back in, I couldn't have fun with it. And now they released this update, and they're saying, new content. There's a lot of good things in this update and stuff like that. And I've seen a couple of the YouTubers I actually trust their opinions and stuff like that, like Level Cap, Jack Frags, and all of them guys. And yeah, I couldn't. I was like, I don't care. I'm not going back in. An exciting news actually would be that Control 2 is confirmed. And Control is a game that I've enjoyed a lot for the most part. I had some gripes with the story itself. They lean too much on the split second imagery to what do you call it, like mysterious vibes, and they don't explain a lot, and they keep a lot of things unexplained. And I don't really like that thing too much. But overall, like, it was fine. Story was, you know a, a, a bit better than fine. But what really shines in that game is the gameplay. The action is an absolutely perfected. It is a 10 out of 10 in terms of like the fun you have when you're playing. Excuse me. So I was very excited to know that Remedy actually confirmed Control 2. I'm very excited to see how they take the franchise, and like if they can uh, how they can push an already perfect gameplay to another level in a sequel to that game. So hoping that Remedy does the good thing and they actually take their time with the game and give us something beautiful, something great, something that is worth being a sequel to the critically acclaimed and rightfully so Control 1. Okay, so I'm going to talk about what I've been playing this week. I actually played Spider-Man Miles Morales on PC, and I've been playing COD, but like the DMZ mode, which is like sort of, they keep saying it's not like it came from Tarkov, and it is kind of, but also not exactly. And I'm gonna get into why. But before that, I want to talk about Spider-Man first. So Spider-Man Miles Morales is sort of like the sequel to Spider-Man, and I've had a lot of problems with Spider-Man first, and they seem to be repeating themselves in Miles Morales. And like the biggest problem that I had with that is the dialogue. The dialogue is horrible. It is not good, and this is not just like a problem with Spider-Man. It's a problem with a lot of video games, because video game companies do not spend a lot of money on the writing. They don't spend a lot of money on sort of like the cinematic, uh, the Hollywood aspect of the video game, which is like script writing and dialogue, stuff like that. So some companies do, and they do a fantastic job at that. Like Santa Monica with God of War. God of War has like one of the best fucking dialogue stories ever. Red Dead, um, all of like the Rockstar games have great dialogue. They all can work as movie as well as a video game. Spider Man didn't have that quality to it. Neither of them did, and not only that, it was actually very hard to. The Spider Man is a special case because Spider Man, the character, is an already established character beyond the games. It's an already established character in the movies and the comic books. the cartoons, the whatever. And it is known that Spider-Man character is like teenage boy who's like very smart. He's like witty and he's funny and he has like quirks and stuff like that. And as far as like the Marvel movies and stuff like that, they do justice. The character is is well written and well played by Tom Holland and everyone. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire before. They for the most part they nailed that character, and they are pretty much like the only reference we have of Spider-Man in like an entertainment, in like a live entertainment category. So when you play a video game, you're kind of like basing the Spider-Man character on those. And I say Spider-Man is a special case because Spider-Man is already established as this witty guy, it is this funny guy. So they're gonna be the video game company is gonna be more focused on making it that, but at the same time, they're not gonna spend money on actual writers, on actual people who know how to make a character funny and true to the source material. So it ends up being just like whatever clusterfuck of conversations and dialogue and like jokes and stuff like that. None of them land for me. None of them land for me. I couldn't enjoy the dialogue for a second, and every time Spider-Man tries to say like a catchphrase or like opens his mouth, I die a little bit inside. One of the things that's like I still think about it like twice a week. I lose sleep over this when this one is in the first Spider-Man, and you're just like there's a lot of they're showing you different enemy types and it, early in the game, and one of them is like shoots with a rocket and then you dodge it whatever, and then now that they've shown you the the type of enemies that have a rocket, now they showed you how like to counter it. Now they're gonna throw more of them at you, so like three or four, just like to actually like to teach you. And this is like a tutorial thing. So there's like four or five people holding a rocket launcher and they're shooting at you, and Spider-Man says, why is something in like in the vein of why is everyone why does everyone have like a rocket launcher? Is this the rocket launcher national day or something? And when he said that, I wanted to commit an alignment, because what a line, what a line, and what the fact that someone wrote that, a human being presumably wrote that, and another human being read that and said, yeah, this is fine. And a couple more people agreed that this should be in the game. That fact is deeply depressing to me. And I wish I wish a lot of things, and none of them are good on everyone involved in the conception and the implementation of that line in the game, and many other eyes. So that was like the biggest gripe that I had with Spider-Man, the first one. And then in the second one, they repeat the same thing. The dialogue is horrible. The new character they add, like in the like sort of like the Spider-Man sidekick, even somehow they managed to make worse dialogue with that character. And then the other problems that I have with the game is the repetitiveness. Like the map is the same, it just has like a Christmassy vibe to it, and like there's snow and stuff like that. Um, the story is basically the same. They just replaced Roxanne. They replaced Oscorp with Roxanne. Oscorp in the first game, Roxanne in Miles Morales, and they replaced Martin Lee in the first one with the Tinklers or whatever, the hackers, the hacker group in this one, in Miles Morales. So the story is like basically the same. I don't want to spoil too much, but like if you play the first one, you know that Oscorp is a big company, a lot of money, and they have some program to do whatever, and it's actually not good for the environment and for the people. And that there's this guy, Martin Lee, who hates Oscorp for whatever reason. a reason that you later on find out in the game, and it's very obvious. I'm not gonna say it, but it's very obvious. And when it happens, you're like, yep, sure. And they play it as if it's like a big reveal, and they do it the same in the first one, in the second one. They play these reveals as if like you're gonna be like, God damn, I didn't know that. Who could have known? Who could have guessed? But it's if you actually ask who could have guessed, well, 90% of the people who play the game could have told you that this is exactly what's going to happen. Like the story is super predictable, especially that it's this exactly the same as the first one. They just replaced names and like uh you know slogans or logos. So story is basically the same, city is the same, core gameplay is the same, but that's not a big problem because the core gameplay is fun. The swinging is fun, the combat is fun, and they actually added, like, Miles Morales has like two powers, and they each come with like their uh playability value, and they add to the Miles Morales character. They make it fresh and different. So that I don't have a problem with. If you have a core gameplay, a solid core gameplay, you don't need to change it. You just gotta alter it and make it fresh. So that not a lot of complaints on that part. It's just like the story, like I said, the story is the same, the map is the same, and I appreciated the fact that the skills that we've unlocked in the first Spider-Man, especially like with swinging and combat stuff like that, this like the skill chain, and the things you've unlocked there, you already have them here in Miles Morales. Like, because Peter Parker basically taught everything he knows to Miles Morales, and Miles, and so you have those skills. So the skill chain for Miles is a different skill chain, and it's actually based on the powers that they've added, which is camouflage and venom, which is like an electric power thing. So I was afraid that I'm gonna have to re-unlock all of the skills that I'm used to and I'm used to playing with, but they didn't do that, and thankfully they didn't. I was glad to see that. So I finished it in like 3 days. Took me about, I don't know, 8 hours or so. I tried some of the side quests, not interesting, and yeah. So that's what I like. That's what I disliked about Spider-Man. Overall, if you like the first one, you can enjoy this one too. If you ignore the horrible dialogue, and if you truly like the swinging and the combat, this is gonna be an upgrade on that. Yeah, and there's also like one point that I wanted to hit on. It's at first, by the way, for me, I don't give a shit if a character is black, white, Mexican, whatever. I don't give a shit. Uh, and the source material for Spider-Man, Miles, is a black kid, is a black teenager, and in the game he's also black. But like at first, it was kind of how do I say this? I'm not gonna talk about it first. I'm gonna talk about, like, every time I proceed into the story in the game, it gets more and more racially awkward. It is not racist, but it's racial, and it's awkward, especially when you're like Miles. Uh, Miles actually used to make beats, and Miles' father and his uncle, they had a mixtape, and there's like this weird side mission where you have to go collect like samples for a beat, and it's just like there's a lot of these things. It's like it's just awkward every time they mention. I'm like, why would you? It's not a bad stereotype, but it's stereotype still, especially when like you're pushing, like, sort of like you're pushing away the stereotypes. When you have with a lot of things in the story. I don't Like I said, I don't want to ruin anything in the story, so they make sure that they're respectful to the culture, but also at some point they just like blatantly, you know, throw a stereotype out there. I don't know. It's just awkward. I found it to be funny at times, and yeah, it actually reminded me of this goddamn reviewer. I'm
So
gonna play that clip. I'm gonna edit it into here.
The way he leaps off of rooftops and flips backwards to face the camera before falling into a headfirst dive is just full of the exaggerated swagger of a black teen.
When I saw this the first time, I hadn't played Spider-Man, so I thought it was funny that this fucking guy just said this. But after I played the game, I was like, the exaggerated black teen swag, whatever. You shouldn't say that. That's obviously that's just not like don't. However, had it been put in a different way, had they talked about the beats thing, I would get it. But mm, anyways, I don't want to harp on this too long. Moving on to COD. So I played COD and I played the DMZ. I'm gonna talk very quickly about this. It is fine for the most part. The mode, it's like Escape from Tarkov when you, in the sense that you get put in this map. There's NPCs and there's players, other players, and you try to collect as much money as you can. Get the best gear that you can and get the fuck out from uh, an extraction point before the whole map becomes full of radioactive materials or radioactive fucking wave, whatever, and you have to escape. So don't get killed by bots. Don't get killed by other players. Get as much money as you can. Get as much gear as you can. Go to an extraction point. Get the hell out of there. The gameplay is kind of intense when you're like, especially when you have like a lot of loot. You have a lot of money on your bag, and you're like trying to make sure that you extract with this money. It's intense. It's fun. It's nice. It's not as nice when the game crashes and everything you had goes away. And I've had this problem where I had like four guns. By the way, before you go into a game, before you matchmake, you go to edit my loadout and you can choose what to take with you when you spawn. So let's say you have like this M4 with three attachments. You take the M4, you take the secondary gun. Let's say it's a shotgun, and you take with you a frag grenade, a flash grenade, and whatever else. So you go into the game, and the game crashes. It counts as you leaving the game. So because of the rules of DMZ, the things that you took with you are no longer in your possession. They're just out there for someone else to loot and extract them. So when you go back into the game and you matchmake again, the M4 that you had is now gone. So let's say you have an M16. You take that M16 with you, and you don't have a secondary gun, so you just spawn in with an M16 and you go there. You die or the game crashes. Now that gun is gone too. So next time you go into the game and you have, when you go to edit my loadout and you don't have any guns there, you can't purchase them outside of the game. You have to be in a match to purchase from a buy station. So you just go into the game with just your hands, and this is fine. It's like a fitting punishment for not taking the game seriously and like not focusing enough, whatever. But it's not your fault when the game crashes and you lose all of these things. So until they fix that thing, this is going to be a huge issue for me. And yeah, but other than this issue, I actually had a lot of fun playing that mode. It is, I would recommend, if you're gonna play it, play with your friends, play with people who have mics, so you can exchange information about where to go, because there's a lot of like you can like play a game and find a loot that it's a key or a key card that unlocks a certain area in the game that has like good loot, a lot of money, stuff like that. So you can go there, and if you don't have a line of communication, you can't talk to two random people that don't even speak your language and tell them, hey, I have a key for this, let's go over there and loot that place. So play with friends. Also, like at some points you have so much loot, and you're afraid they're gonna lose it, so you're gonna avoid contact, um you're gonna avoid fighting people, and you're trying to just extract, and you're idiot teammate doesn't know that or doesn't understand that, so they just go around attacking everyone, and you're probably gonna get killed. Like this time, one of the first matches I actually played was we spawned next to this airport, and the airport had a lot of good loot inside it. So we go in, we're killing bots. I think we've met like a couple other players, and I keep reviving this guy. I've run like 4 or 5 times in like the span of like 10, 15 minutes maybe. So we finally cleaned the whole place, loot the whole place, and like we already have more than enough. More than enough. So we go outside, and I see a truck with 3 players in it. And the truck is sort of like coming my way because the road is where I'm at, but there's like a couple boxes. So I hide behind the boxes, and I type in the chat because I don't want to yell in the mic because of proximity chat. So I type in the chat quickly, "Do not engage." And what does my teammate do? Well, pre-marriage, baby. He engaged, and they start like they immediately stopped, and they had like an armor truck, and also with it has like a fucking gun. What do you call it? Like a machine gun, whatever. It had a big shooter on top of it, and it can fucking rip us to pieces. So he gets to shooting them. I turn around. I'm like, fuck it. I dip. I run out of there. They kill him, and he starts like tagging them and telling me to come revive him. He's like using like the god damn it, the emotes, the pre things already in the game. You just click A and it kind of like pins a person. So he's telling me to come revive him and like giving me their location so I can be careful in like killing them and actually getting to revive him. And I'm like, nope, I'm just running in the opposite direction. I'm just like hauling ass, trying to find a vehicle so I can go to an extraction point and get the fuck out of there because I've already have enough loot. So yeah, this is one of the things that could happen. So I would suggest playing with friends, play with everyone who is decent enough in the game and has a mic. That's pretty much what you need to get by. I have, although one complaint about the game is that like I didn't meet a lot of other players. I've killed a fuck ton of bots, but not a lot of players. And I think they should add like areas that don't have bots but have a good loot, and those areas are kind of sort of like compact, where it kind of pushes players to go there, but it's like a high risk, high reward type situation, type area. They should have more of those. They don't necessarily have like one that it's clear that if you go here, you're gonna meet other players, but if you manage to get out, you're gonna get a lot of rewards for your efforts and for outbesting the players that also came here. So I think they should add more of that because it at some point it's just like it's not fun when all you're killing is bots and it's just like whatever. It's just like another solo mode. So yeah, that's my DMZ report so far, and that's all I have here noted in front of me. So we should end it on that note. Uh, if you made it somehow here, thank you for listening. And this one is longer than actually the first one. Oh,